bucking. I'm like, this guy gonna kill somebody.
I remember coming to the line of scrimmage, and of course the eyes. Man, he's got some big eyes.
There was an intensity about Mike Singletary like you saw with no one else. Sometimes I'd get up to the line of scrimmage and I'd look at Mike. You saw the fire in his eyes and the passion in his eyes. Many years later, when I was in broadcasting and he was still playing, I sat down with him for a 15-minute interview. I walked out of that meeting just in awe of the gentleness of this intense football player, this guy that controlled this monster defense. There was so much more to him, and if I didn't have that 15 minutes, my view of Mike Singletary always would have been the guy that was just unbelievable on the football field.
You gonna be a football player when you grow up?
Today is the best day of your life. Believe
Give me 8 years of daylight. That's all right.
Greatest leader I've ever known.
What a ride it's been.
I like this kind of party. I like this kind of party, baby.
Growing up, for all of us, I think it was just so how is it to have Mike Singletary as a dad? You're like, oh, and before you even answer, they're like, oh, was he really tough on you? And like, no, he's funny. And they're like, no, he's not.
He's fun, and he always dances and sings around, and it's just so strange for one side to be portrayed in the media.
And when you do have friends over and they come into our house, they see him and they're like, what is that? What is he doing? Is he laughing? And you're like, that's my dad. It's just everyone has such a hard idea of him, but he's such a teddy bear. He's such a softie. Yeah. So, yeah.
You would walk by, you're on the way to kitchen or something, and he's just in tears, listening to a song and writing, and that sensitive side to him that no one gets to see besides his family. It's amazing.
If you walk past his office and he's playing Luther Vandross, he's missing his mom. Mm-hmm. If he's dancing, listening to Motown, he's just having all these memories. He's in a great mood. You just can see what mood he's in, how he's feeling by his playlist. It's kind of really magical, to be honest.
The song a couple of songs I listen to when I'm in here, and it's a theme song from On Golden Pond. Every so often, I just kind of sit in this chair and look at the pictures and kind of reflect about where I've been and kind of look at where I'm going.
If you were to ask Mike Singletary why his eyes grew so wide on game day, he would reply, because I didn't want to miss anything. Any clues indicating where the ball might be headed. That piercing glare, fixated on prediction, is now a calm gaze, focused on reflection. And for the youngest of 10 siblings who grew up poor in the outskirts of Houston, many of those memories are painful to recall.
When my mom and dad seemed like they always fought. Yeah, you talk about dysfunction, that's not even the right word. There's got to be another word that's worse than dysfunction. My father was a Pentecostal pastor, so all of my sisters and brothers couldn't wear shorts. They couldn't participate in athletics. They couldn't do anything because everything was a distraction from the faith. As a kid, I spent a lot of time judging my dad.
He wasn't happy with the fact that his mom and his dad separated. That left a kind of an empty feeling because he wasn't there, and then he ended up getting married and, had other kids. I would say that shaped Mike.
A childhood already clouded by parental conflict was darkened by family tragedy. Mike's brother Dale died in his sleep when Mike was just 5. 7 years later, his brother Grady was killed by a drunk driver. By the age of 12, the suffering surrounding Mike Singletary had taken its toll.
Yeah, I just quit. I just said, you know what, at this point, I'm not going to be the worst. I'm not going to be the best. I'm just going to stay in the middle. Mediocre is great. My mom told me, I need you to step up and be the man of the house. I see something very special in you. There's a reason why you're here. And that was the day that I walked in my room and got out a sheet of paper and wrote out my vision statement. Get a scholarship to college. Get my degree, become an All-American, get drafted and go to the NFL, become an All-Pro, go to the Super Bowl,
The dream is reality.
buy my mom a house, and own my own business.
We would like to welcome you to the Leadership Zone.
The vision statement composed by a 12-year-old boy would inspire a 12-year NFL career. Mike Singletary's football life reached heights he never envisioned.
I'll never forget this day all of my life.
And maintained its intensity at every turn.
I don't think I've ever seen that, a player being kicked off the field by his own coach.
I would rather play with 10 people rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
He told me to go in and take a shower. Don't you need me out here on the field?
I want winners.
The child who nearly settled on being average became a man obsessed with being the best. The best player, the best husband, the best father, and if given another chance,
Mike Singletary has been fired. 90 straight.
the best coach.
I think what happened was supposed to happen. All I've done since that time is work my tail off, putting in the time to become a coach as I was a player.
Introducing the first of its kind.
Traverse LT models, plus current GM owners get an additional $2,000 cash allowance. Chevy drives Texas. Find new roads.
At home, you know, when my dad wasn't there, my mom wasn't there, television very low. I'm not supposed to be looking at it, but I'm watching it, and I'm very close to it. So I'm sitting there looking at the Cowboys every Sunday.
Roger Staubach, 6'3",
I'm looking at Roger Staubach and Calvin Hill and Walt Garrison and Bob Lilly, and
the 74, Bob Lilly is there.
Thinking to myself, I want to play, I gotta play.
Mike Singletary was the first of his siblings permitted to play sports. His hallmark intensity became the byproduct.
Everything that I did, playing as hard as I could play, hitting everything as hard as I could hit it, working out as hard as I could, and it was sort of a kind of a fear of failure.
I had an assistant coach that was recruiting Houston, and he said, "Coach, I found a young man I think you'll really love." I watched 3 plays. I reached up, turned it off, and I said to the assistant coach, I'll take him. He said, "Coach, you just looked at 3 plays." I said, "That's all I need to see."
Baylor University was the only major college to offer Singletary an athletic scholarship. In 4 years, he tallied 662 tackles, a school record that still remains. He became a 3-time All-American and led the Baylor Bears to the 1980 Southwest Conference Championship. With his linebacker bound for the NFL, Grant Taft contacted a close friend, trying to arrange a perfect fit.
I called Coach Landry when Mike graduated, And I said, Coach, this guy will take you to the Super Bowl. Tom relied on his guru, and the guru said Mike was too short.
I remember the conversation that I had with him. I really like you, son. You got some great intangibles, but you just don't fit our measurables.
5'11" and 3/4. It didn't matter how tall he was. Was he physically capable of handling the position he was playing? And yes, he was.
You are watching exclusive live coverage of the 1981 National Football League Draft right here on ESPN.
Draft day comes, and I'm sitting there. I about had it. At the end of the first round, I get up and I go outside, and I'm contemplating not even playing football. You know what? I don't even care.
I think Michael is a little impatient right now, but I think he's going to be all right.
You know, I'm kicking tires, throwing rocks. My girlfriend comes to the door and says, Mike, I don't want to hear it. The Bears just drafted you.
Did it matter to you at all, really, going in, who you'd be playing for?
No, it didn't really matter. It was pride. I was frustrated. I was angry, but I also knew what I was going to bring. So I hope it didn't work out. Don't think I'm just another guy. I'm not. I'm going to be special.
The Bears' second-round pick arrived full of bravado. Then he met his defensive coordinator, Buddy Ryan.
Buddy was not the most complimentary person towards rookies, and Mike especially, because Mike was a middle linebacker. Mike was going to be calling his plays. Mike was going to be him on the field.
I know nothing about Buddy Ryan. First day I see him, he says, well, you're just a little short, fat guy. I don't know how they think you could play middle linebacker. So I'm thinking, you got to be kidding. I can't believe he just said that.
He used to call Mike a little fat guy. You just call him a little fatso, little fatty. I'm wondering if Mike remembers it. Well, he probably does remember that because he was going to go beat him up.
I had about had it with Buddy. Jim Osborne came up to me and he said, you just need to be quiet. He wants you to say, yes, sir, be quiet, and do your job. Okay. I begin to do that.
The first start of Singletary's career, my dad calls the play, and Singletary sees a formation he's never seen.
And now the Bears elect to stop the clock.
Watch Mike Singletary here, rookie linebacker. He just really couldn't catch on to what the Bears wanted him to do defensively.
I get halfway to the sideline. Buddy's cursing me. You're a rookie. What are you doing calling timeout? Go over there and sit down.
My dad puts him on the bench. Singletary's like, Coach, put me back in. Nah, we're not giving up yet.
Nah, son, we're going to leave you here. We're trying to win this one. Like that's something my dad would say to him.
And I go up to Buddy and I said, Buddy, let me play. And he looks at me and he said, son, go sit down. We're trying to win the game, okay? We're trying to win the game. I did not play another play the whole game.
And that's Buddy's thing. If he doesn't have confidence in you and don't believe in you, he's not going to really put you out there until you show him that you're ready.
Singletary was eager to prove himself. A few weeks later, Ryan gave him another start.
We were playing against Kansas City, and Joe Delaney is having a tremendous rookie year. Buddy's showing us over and over in the room, here's Joe Delaney scoring touchdown. It's like a track meet. Buddy's saying, you guys got to stop this guy. You got to stop him.
I'll be backing up the unit.
People that he really saw something in and he really liked them, he gave them the hardest time.
You and Mikey.
The worst thing that Buddy Ryan could say was, I expect more out of my middle linebacker.
He knew it was motivating Mike, see, because Mike was, burning under the surface. And I remember we get to Kansas City, and Mike was different.
He hit Joe Delaney. Oh my gosh, that was one of the hardest hits I've ever heard in my life.
It sounded like a gunshot because Mike squared him up and knocked the living hell out of him. I remember we all went back to the huddle and we all looked at each other's eyes and we said, we got us a middle linebacker now.
after the game, Buddy's walking on the bus, and I'm sitting down, I'm looking straight ahead, and he taps me on the leg, and he said, "Today," he didn't look at me, he said, "Today you showed me something." That was wow.
Up next.
Every coach should get the opportunity to coach Mike Singletary because he's such a dedicated kid. I mean, he doesn't play lip service to it. He really works at it. He's probably the hardest hitter in the National Football League. So he's got it all, and very few people have that, I think.
Before
tonight and tomorrow here on NFL Network.
In 1984 and 85, the NFL's #1 ranked defense belonged to the Chicago Bears. Defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan devised schemes like the famed 46 defense that adjusted to offensive formations and increased the odds for his defenders. The execution of Ryan's audible-based system relied entirely upon the intellect of his middle linebacker, Mike Singletary.
Buddy was the one that created that environment where Mike had to do everything possible, and Mike did it.
He knew exactly what was going on, and that was Buddy's guy. I mean, he's really a coach on the field.
That was his strength, and there's always been his strength, his leadership. He wanted to be the leader. He expected to be the leader. He was a middle linebacker. He was the quarterback of the defense, per se.
The confidence that Buddy had, that you had a middle linebacker who was completely prepared, could do anything he wanted to do, it was just tremendous trust.
How important is Buddy Ryan?
He's essential. I mean, it's vital that he's here, and it's vital that he does all the things that he does, because if not, then we'd be an average defense. So he draws it up, and we run it.
When I came in on Tuesdays,
Under 15 double, ready? Watch the draw now.
it was to take a verbal test.
No, move down, move down.
Buddy would say, "Now, tell me, what did you see on this? What did you see on that?" Not bad. Getting a little better.
Mike was a student of the game, and he studied, 6, 7, 8 hours of film.
He was one of the first guys to have whatever the high end was at Hallis Hall. He bought his own for film study at home. He was always looking for that edge to improve himself. He was very serious in that way.
Every play, somebody's talking. And you have to look at the film long enough to hear the conversation.
Watch him in the block.
Once the ball was getting ready to snap,
Hey, get on him.
I'm gonna be loud, I'm gonna be active, I'm gonna be in motion. I can't be still because
move!
When you have a pretty good idea of what they're gonna do,
Watch the end of my jaw.
it's a good feeling.
You look light.
That's why my eyes were as big as they were, so that I could figure out what's the formation, who's giving me the tip, what's the play. It's just so exciting and so exhilarating to be right.
He had that intensity, every play. A lot of action, a lot of movement going on.
Check pro! Check pro!
Singletary is calling out plays, and it's the actual play that they're going to run.
Not only did it inspire us, but at the same time, it discouraged them.
I'd get up to the line of scrimmage, and Mike would go, "They're running over here," and I'm going, "That's pretty good film study right there."
That was Mike. He was a true leader of our football team, no question about it. It's because of the effort he puts in, the attitude, and never quit.
The quick pass to the back, out of bound formation, or either if it's flop, look at it lifting up. If it's flop over there.
He played with a great passion.
Hey, baby, we're gonna be here all day. We're gonna be here all day right, baby. I like this kind of party. I like this kind of party, baby.
In 1984, Chicago won its first playoff game in over 2 decades. But the party didn't last.
The championship game that we lose to San Francisco, I'm standing on the bench, and I'm thinking, next year we're going to the Super Bowl, and we're going to win the Super Bowl.
In 1985, Mike Singletary was named Defensive Player of the Year as he led one of the most disruptive defenses in NFL history.
You know, we're just trying to keep getting better. Hopefully we can continue to do that. You know, that's the challenge for our defense.
Chicago's defense allowed the fewest yards and the least amount of points in the league.
Well, the Bears have had some spectacular statistics defensively, but they're known as a gambling-type defense, and you wonder, can this type of defense hold up all the way to the Super Bowl?
It's impossible for a team to lose when it doesn't allow any points. The Bears shut out the Giants, then the Rams, on their road to Super Bowl 20.
Dickerson, the tail backhand off Dickerson. He's hit by Singletary at the line of scrimmage. Mike Singletary, he read it beautifully.
Just went out there and we did what we had to do. And I tell you, it's going to get better. The best is yet to come, it really is.
Every bit of blood, sweat, and tears, everything that you've done, it's time for the display of it.
Total decimation of the AFC champion New England Patriots.
This defense, they're so dominating that it makes it boring. People just say, oh, they're tough, and they kind of like overlook it.
I think there have been many teams that had more talent than the Bears 85 team. But I have not seen a team that had the heart.
I've gone back and looked at this plaque and looked at the players. What we really had was a group of guys that really did not want to lose. We had a group of guys that went the extra mile in terms of really believing in what you think a winner is. You know, some people get ahead in life, but they're not winners. I just think that when you do things the right way, you can go to bed at night many years from now and not blink and not, have to toss and turn. I feel great about what I've accomplished because I know that I did the right thing. And to me, it's extremely important that as you go through this life and you get one shot, it is making sure that as you're going through, that you're doing everything that you can to do the right thing, and everything else to take care of yourself.
Hey man, throw it over the sky.
Up next.
He just was always thinking about football.
Let's go, man, let's go.
You are here, but you're not here. Those people that are closest to me did not know me.
Mike, you've been to the top of the mountain, winning it all, winning a Super Bowl. How have you been able to come back down to earth and get ready for this season?
You know, to be honest, I really don't feel that we've been to the top of the mountain. I feel that we're still scratching at the surface, and I don't think we're going to get there.
198, hot!
The Bears may have been defending Super Bowl champions, but they were not the same. Following the 1985 season, Buddy Ryan departed Chicago to become the head coach in Philadelphia, leaving a void in the Windy City.
In order to be the best, you have to have that friction that uncovers the layers in your life that can help you see that I can get just a little bit better. Oh, I can get a little bit better. Oh, I can get even better than that.
As a linebacker, Mike Singletary was trained to fill holes. but he was unable to provide the friction needed to spark the Bears to a second Super Bowl title.
You got 20 holes up front here. Let's play the defense. Mike is one of those kind of guys that kind of expects you to understand you're going to work hard, you're going to be honest, you're going to be trustworthy. All those intangibles you talk about that made him great, it's almost like sometimes you think everybody's got them. They don't. A lot of people don't have them.
In his final 7 seasons, Singletary was All-Pro 5 times and won his second Defensive Player of the Year award in 1988, but would never make it back to the top of the mountain.
Not used to this, Mike. We're winners, man. We ain't no losers. You know what I'm saying?
I remember coming to that point in my 11th year, realizing I exhausted everything. I gave everything I had. I realized that was it.
When you're down, what do? You can't quit. I mean, in life, you can't quit. You have to continue to go forward. But at times like these, I just reflect upon how thankful I really am. To me, this noise right here, this blesses me. I love this noise.
Mike is all about family. And he said, I want to have the kind of family where they want to be together. His siblings kind of fought a lot. And so that was one thing that he instilled really young. We're not having that.
Dad would always say that. Friends come and go. They just will. But your family is forever. This is what matters. What's in this house is what matters.
Singletary was one of 10 children and has 7 of his own. When he retired from the NFL following the 1992 season, his oldest was just 6.
What's around this table, this is what I envisioned many years ago.
I'm going to pick because I marked it. When he retired was the first time he took his helmet off. The first time that he could really see everything. I just said, for years you've had your helmet on and your vision was limited to this much, and he just was always thinking about football.
I realized that my most important job, above and beyond anything else, was to be a dad.
Jackie, don't even think about them. Let's look at the book, okay? We're gonna read the book. Got it? Now let's sit up like a big girl. Okay? Here we go.
He took that role so seriously and, called all the kids around. Today, we're learning how to unload a dishwasher. And, they can't even reach the guy. And he's thinking, I'm a dad. I'm 100% a dad. I'm here. I'm whatever you need.
You eating yet? You want cereal? Okay. You can sit at the table.
We are unloading the dishwasher with intensity. We are going to be happy about it. We are going to do it efficiently. We are going to do it together. Everything had that mindset of what is the best way we can do this, and that's the way we're going to do it every time.
Intense, and it could have been done right. It could have been done great. The counters were clean to everyone's standards. But Dad comes out and says, Jill, that's one way, but it's not the best way. And I'm like, it's clean. I'm 12, and I clean a good countertop. Yeah. But he said, no, start over, because you know how to do it. And we had to do it the best way.
Singletary wasn't satisfied sharing his knowledge with just his children. His goal of owning his own business came to life in the form of a consulting company, naturally titled The Leadership Zone.
Without you. Jonathan, this is Mike Singletary. I do not want to send you a fax. I want to talk to you.
Mike wanted to bring that skill set that he had from building team dynamics and leadership to help corporations.
The commitment that I have to make is I must surround myself with great people. Not good people, great people.
There was that pinnacle that he was reaching for all the time.
In 1998, Singletary reached the pinnacle of the football world. And of all the great people who impacted his life, he asked Kim to become the only wife ever to to introduce her husband into the Hall of Fame.
She said, well, Buddy Ryan should do this, or Mike Ditka should do this, or, Coach Taft. And I said, I love those men. But there's no one like you.
Please give a warm welcome to Kim Singletary.
So many people ask, oh, well, you're the first wife. What does it mean to you? And I just really wanted people to know the man that he is.
The quality that I most admire is his ability to listen.
Everybody knows he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, but he really is a Hall of Fame dad and Hall of Fame husband. He really, truly is.
He is never too busy to give you his undivided attention.
Jackie, what do you need, sweetheart?
After a decade away from the game he loved, it was Singletary's ability to listen that kick-started the next phase of his football life.
One day, after 10 years, came home, and my wife said, you're not going to want to hear this. You're not going to believe this, but it's time.
This would be awkward if you were sharing these nachos with
One day, came home, and my wife said, you're not going to want to hear this. You're not going to believe this, but it's time. Start coaching.
Just feel it. Just feel it. Come on out. Come on out. All right, go.
Mike Singletary's return to football began in Baltimore, where he was hired as the Ravens linebackers coach to mentor a player who approached football the same way he did.
We've won a Super Bowl. Ray Lewis has already established himself as Ray Lewis. You just don't bring anybody in to coach a Ray Lewis. You knew the minute he walked in there was going to be immediate respect. But then going forward, you have to be able to deliver. Players want to know, okay, what can you do for me? Can you make me better?
I was like, look, seriously, I want everything you know. Give me everything you know. He was like, you want everything I know? I was like, yeah, I want everything.
Ready? Go! Good. Ray, that back is already outside. You ain't even have to hit it. Yep. Just go get it.
That group with Ray Lewis and the other guys that were in that room, it's not like they really needed someone to come in and give them the, football 101. They really needed somebody to come in and give them some little tweaks here and there that maybe they hadn't thought about.
One conversation totally changed me as a leader. We were playing the Jets, and we're calling this defense that is not built for the run. Mike Nolan was the coach. And I'm like, why are we calling pass defenses and these people finna run the freaking ball down our throats? And I lose it.
Man, what are we doing on third downs? That's all I'm saying.
Nolan yelled down, Mike, talk to Ray. You're the only one that can talk to him.
Mike Singletary.
There was a guy close to him.
Tell Ray, have confidence in the call. Quit giving the looks, all right? Get you his ass somewhat, Mike. You can do it.
And he comes over to me and he's like, look at me. And I'm like, okay, okay.
Don't come down. Don't send a message down here that don't sound positive. When we give you a call out there, Ray, you got to look and say, that's going to work.
Right.
I'm with you. Okay?
I'm with you. What it taught me was, as a leader, that you can't let your emotions be shown like that.
When Mike Nolan was hired to coach the 49ers in 2005, he made Singletary his assistant head coach and linebackers coach.
You still want to keep your vision here. You're still looking at him, but you're still looking inside here.
My thought was about me building a team, and when I hired other coaches and they saw Mike Singletary, I'd like to think they thought, this is the expectation level.
The image of the 49ers improved, but the results did not. When Nolan was dismissed in 2008, he felt strongly about who his successor should be.
I said, look at Mike, I'm sure the owner's already said something to you, but I want you to know something. I said, I want you to be the head coach. He said, I'm not going to do it. I said, that's why I brought you here. He says, not to take your job. I said, look over that desk. You see that desk? He kind of looks, Mike does. He looks back at me. And I said, do you see anyone sitting at it? He said, no. I said, it's because they don't have a head coach.
Singletary was named interim coach for the remainder of the 2008 season. He inherited a 49ers team that was 2-5 and surrounded by uncertainty.
The question still remains, how can a first-time head coach who has never been a coordinator, how is he going to lead this Niner team to victory?
I know that there is a fire that burns in my heart for this team to be successful. And that fire is unconquerable, and it will not die.
In his first game, Singletary's fire was ignited when tight end Vernon Davis took an unnecessary penalty.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 85.
He came up to me and he was like, "What's wrong, son? What are you doing?"
If you mess up on this team, you better be ready for a intense talking to.
It's like, "Sorry, coach." Circled around, came back. He told me to go in and take a shower.
And it looks like he's gone. He is walking off the field going into the locker room.
I mean, this is the first imprint Mike Singletary's putting on this team. But boy, I don't think I've ever seen that, a player being kicked off the field by his own coach.
I was extremely surprised that he sent me to the locker room.
You don't want an attitude issue with Michael Singletary because he's not going to play. I don't know how it was with the other head coach, but this is not going to happen on my team.
After that day, I knew it had to change.
It was the beginning of something for him. He really began to develop into a guy that can truly be a great player.
That's good, B. That's good.
He would see everything. He would see whenever I made a good play in practice or if I made a good play in the game. I know that everything Singletary did for me, it all helped.
I tell you the guy I'm most proud of is Vernon. I'm most proud of him.
The best thing that ever happened to Vernon was what you did.
Oh, he just, every time I say something to him, he's smiling. Coach, everything I'm doing, because of you. Because of you now.
Yeah.
Because of you.
But ain't nobody ever talked to him and treated him other than he was just an athlete.
I love the kid. I really do. I love the kid.
He was exactly what the 49ers needed at that time.
Keo, you got to come hit that thing. Let Pat come clean it up. Come on, Keo. If I can just get Keo just to come on down and hit that power and let that thing bounce outside, we're going to be good. Come on, young gun.
The expectations was he wanted you to be great. And he was going to push your button and call you out until you responded.
Look at this side.
San Francisco won 5 of its final 7 games. Singletary was building the 49ers in his own image.
This is the last time our season ends in December.
Damn.
And I'd like to introduce the new head coach of the San Francisco.
That pissed me off, son.
Coming up.
You don't know who you're dealing with now. It pissed me off.
What happens when intensity doesn't bring results?
The thing that they hire you for is the thing they're going to fire you for.
Ain't no stopping me now.